A generation ago, up until 1960, there was a neighborhood in Providence called Across the Tracks. In 1961, it was demolished by the city as part of a plan called urban redevelopment or urban renewal. During the 1960s, Providence, like many cities across the country, identified so called blighted neighborhoods and replaced them with non residential space. Central and Classical High School replaced parts of the West End and Upper South Providence neighborhoods. A shopping plaza and luxury apartments replaced a neighborhood on the east side. Government buildings replaced Weybosset Hill. Route 95 cut through Upper and Lower South Providence. And an industrial park replaced a neighborhood in West Elmwood called Across the Tracks or Over the Bridge. The neighborhood's hills and dips were leveled, its creeks full of fish and frogs were paved over, and the shore of the adjacent pond, Mashapog Pond, was filled in. Homeowners and some renters were offered monetary compensation by the city, but moving away posed problems. They faced a housing shortage in the city. Many people moved to the suburbs from the neighborhood. And for non whites, blacks, Native Americans, and Cape Verdeans, this housing shortage was compounded by racial discrimination.
Oh yeah, I heard people talking about it, and the best thing was, well, what do they expect us to do? Where do they expect us to go? There's nothing wrong with this, wrong, wrong with this area. Why didn't they ask us? And the answer is going to be, well, we don't want it. And but they're pretty, as I said, they pretty much felt resigned that to their fate. That's what was going to happen. They had no control over it. Um, Again, one of the other sidelights is that some people felt that they took that area because of uh, an opponent to the incumbent candidate in a primary fight, won by only, I think, 29 votes. And they were afraid the next time around that guy was gone. Um, Whether that's true or not, you really don't know. A lot of people did not like the idea, but they also felt resigned to it. They saw what was going on in other portions of the city. Of course, they had already announced that they were taking the Libet Hill area, the area where the gypsies, when they came in the fall and set up camp, that area was already taken, and they were building the post office. So I, they pretty much felt resigned to it. And plus, the rumors of the highway coming in, and no one knew the exact route of the highway. Little did they know that the announcement came shortly after that they were going to cut a swath through South Providence for Route 95.
On June 1st, 1960, the Director of Family and Business Relocation Services presented the plans for relocating people in the Mashapog Plan. He announced that 486 families would face relocation by November of that year, giving them 6 months' warning. The public hearing was scheduled for that fall in September. People would have a chance to respond to the idea of the industrial park about 2.5 months before they were scheduled to leave. The planners said that they had picked the area for redevelopment because of faulty street layouts and platting, which precluded any development. Their internal reports offered a quite different conclusion about the neighborhood. And by 1957, the city started calling the area on the verge of becoming a slum and a detriment to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. In the September public hearing, more than 120 people from the area showed up, and people voiced their dissent. Others voiced resistance by refusing to speak to surveyors. Don't tell them anything.
No, I remember when the surveyors came out or came through the area. We saw them in the area, and pretty much adopted an attitude of give them hell. Don't tell them. You know, they want to don't tell them.
It is true that the area did have poor quality housing.
And there was a lot of shacks over there. They took them all down. So they were all poor people, where I used to collect the rents and everything too. So.
For Black and Indian residents, moving out wasn't so easy. The Urban League and the NAACP spoke out about the problem of racial discrimination in housing. At the hearing, one woman rose to ask the panel, "Will you let me move next door to you?" Some residents described the area as one of the few truly integrated neighborhoods.
Yes, it was well integrated. You know, there were Irish folks, there were some Italian folks, there were some Polish folks, there were black folks, there were Native Americans over there that lived there, and it was a melting pot, and that you just had a sense of security. You felt, you know, you could go out and leave your doors open, and you know, that's not trying to sound like Mayberry, but you know, that's how it was. You know, you knew people, you knew everybody on your street, you knew people on the side streets and so forth, and we'd look out for each other. Had friends over there, my friends were getting displaced, I was getting displaced, we moved, and you know, it was sort of traumatic at that age. You know, it was sort of traumatic.
I did not think of black folks being unable to live where they wanted to live until this time. Now maybe it was that way all along, I just didn't know it.